Hey everyone. Today's topic, men are starved for physical intimacy. And I'm sure every one of you is assuming that I mean, the bedroom Olympics when I say that, but that's not what I'm talking about. Although, there are some reports that apparently, I think it's not even just men, it's people in general are losing their V card a lot later now than before. So that is happening. But no, what I'm more so referring to is the fact that a lot of men crave physical touch, like hugs, being held, that sort of thing, being shown that they're cared about and loved through touch. Many men crave that, but they're being starved for it in today's world because society acts like it's something that men don't desire when that's not true. I mean, men are human beings. Like, all human beings crave that kind of physical intimacy. We're animals, like on a deep level. And a great example of this, just look out there into nature at how many animals show each other love and affection via touch. Lions are a great example of this. They constantly rub their heads on one another. That's them saying, hey, look, I love you. You're my brother or my sister, whatever, their mother, their father. Yeah, that's what lions do. They greet each other with head bumps or they rub up against each other. All cats do that, actually, not just lions. And then chimps do the same thing. Like, a lot of apes will do that. They'll, not the head bumps and that sort of thing, but they'll literally like rub up against each other. They'll even hug each other, hold each other. They'll pick bugs and parasites off each other's back. Basically, they do a lot of physical touching. So this is something that you see in a bunch of different animals. I'm not going to list even more examples. Like, there are plenty of them out there for you to see if you wish to look. So of course, we human beings, we're going to operate in a similar way. People enjoy that touch because it shows them, hey, you are cared for, you are loved, you are wanted. But men are starved for this in today's day and age because people forget that fact. Like, nobody really shows a lot of physical intimacy to men. And even men with each other don't really do that because they don't want to be called, gay, even though society accepts that nowadays. So it shouldn't really be a problem. But for whatever reason, there's still that issue that a lot of men don't want to hug each other and whatnot, even though if you aren't attracted to the other man you're hugging, what's the problem there? But yeah, so there's just a lot of hangups that men have with showing each other affection. I mean, it's interesting how we've gotten to this place because this wasn't really an issue if you go back like even 100 years ago or so. It wasn't really a problem, right? Like, you would have fathers and sons hugging all the time, best friends would be hugging each other. Like, there wasn't a problem there. So I don't know what exactly changed to make this an issue, but it clearly is one now. And COVID had obviously made it worse because there was a great period of time where it was kind of seen as bad to hug your loved ones. So that just made this issue get amplified. So now you fast forward to today, and I mean, I don't have numbers on this, of course, but I wager there are probably a decent amount of men out there who are basically starved for physical intimacy, for even just being held and hugged. Like, I remember back in middle school when I was growing up, I was the way we greeted each other as friends back then was like with hugs. And I had a bunch of female friends, so I remember I was getting hugs every single day. And it, of course, felt great. It made me feel part of a community. It made me feel like I mattered and that I was wanted. And heck, even some of my guy friends in middle school, we would also greet by hugging. So I was not starved for that physical intimacy back then. But then as I got older, that stopped happening because, as people age now, suddenly when you hug a woman that you are attracted to, it can be basically there are some lines that you don't want to be crossed, even though a hug is not really a problem. But yeah, you just basically, as you get older, men start being perceived almost more as threats when they maybe just need some of that physical intimacy that is lacking in their lives. And I understand it's a difficult thing, right? Especially when you're talking about men hugging women, provided they're straight men, of course, because yeah, there are boundaries and whatnot there, but that just adds to what I'm saying here. This is why men are starved for physical intimacy, because it's tricky in today's world, especially with like the whole Me Too movement and whatnot. Like, I highly doubt you'll see any coworkers hugging each other unless they're working a very unprofessional job where nobody really cares. But in a professional environment, that's not going to happen because they're going to be very much aware of the optics of that kind of situation. So they're going to avoid it. So that basically means you're not going to get physical affection or intimacy at work. So then men are going to have to get that at home. But what about all the men who don't live with their families anymore? So they're not going to get hugs from their family members. They're probably not going to get hugs from their roommates either. And then think of all the single men out there who don't have a girlfriend to go home to. So there are a bunch of men out there who basically haven't had physical intimacy for God knows how long. This is a problem. But society acts like it's nothing. It doesn't exist because they think men don't need physical intimacy, that physical affection. As I said earlier in the video, most people would probably assume that when you talk about men needing physical intimacy, that you're talking about putting, long things in holes. But that's just one aspect of it. Men need that platonic physical intimacy and affection as well. But they're just not really getting it in today's world. At least it doesn't appear to be the case when I look out there and observe people, and when I read what men write online. There's just, so I basically just wanted to talk about this issue, bring awareness to it. I don't have solutions here because this is like a societal thing. So I don't know what the hell we could do to make it better besides saying, for all you out there, especially for all the men, maybe, consider hugging your friends. It's not a problem. And then for all the ladies out there, consider hugging your guy friends more often. Just, establish boundaries there. And as I said earlier, it's a shame that this is part of the problem, that, it's tricky to show affection in a platonic way to people who are of the opposite sex and they're both straight because, so I don't know, just have strong boundaries, but don't be afraid to give people affection. There's so many people out there starved for it, and it's not even just men. It's just, I know this is a bigger problem with men because women, they tend to be more physically intimate, like in general, because women don't have those hang-ups that men have. Women will hug each other, they'll touch each other, they'll like put their hand on their friend's shoulder or arm or their thigh when giving them reassurance and whatnot. But guys don't do that to each other. So there you go. But that's all I wanted to talk about. I'm going to start rambling at this point, so I will end the video here. But I truly hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you understood what I'm driving at. And let me know your thoughts on this subject because I'm interested in hearing what you guys have to say. But that's all I have for you. Truly hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Arrivederci.